Alright, so today we're going to replace the front, right, and left lower control arms on a 2009 Chrysler Town Country Touring minivan. Alright, so replacing this lower control arm, the most difficult part is this front nut and bolt on the ball joint of the lower control arm. It's difficult because you got the axle coming in here, and so it's very tight on space, and then also the way that the ball joint fits up into the knuckle here at the hub. Over many miles it gets very well embedded, so it's going to be difficult to get it out. So the first step is to get a wrench on here, 18 millimeter, fit it around, and then we'll be able to loosen this nut up. Alright, so what I've done is I've brought the nut all the way up flush with the top of the bolt, and there's not enough space to take the nut all the way off, so we're going to have to get this control arm loose before we'll be able to take it the rest of the way off. So I'm going to leave that wrench on there. Alright, we're going to use this style of ball joint separator. Go ahead and slide it up on here like so. So I'm using the wrench to give me more surface to clamp from above because it's so tight up there. So what I'm going to do, I'm go ahead and beat this in a bit with the sledgehammer. Good and tight in there. Alright, so what I've done is I've gone ahead and got it pretty well wedged in there. So I've brought it towards the brake rotor and the hub. And now I'm just going to go ahead and start torquing it. Alright, so it's not moving like it was before. So now we'll be able to go ahead and torque it and get it loose. And that was it going loose, that big explosion. All right, so now we can go ahead and finish taking this nut off. All right, so now that we've got that bolt loose from the knuckle, the bolt is spinning while I'm trying to take the nut off. And so since I'm just going to be throwing away this old lower control arm, go ahead and get a pair of vice grips on that bolt so that I'll be able to prevent it from spinning, and I'll be able to get this nut off. So the factory lower control arm just has that little rubber thread lock in the nut to stop it from spinning off while you're driving. So you don't really need a whole lot to hold it. Let's get the nut off. So we'll go ahead and push it down, and we're off. All right, so this next bolt's real tight. So I ended up having to use 3/8 ratchet to get to it. Not too difficult to get out on this vehicle, which is nice. All right, so due to how tight everything is up in here, I had to go get a universal joint to be able to keep taking this off with the ratchet. And then eventually I'm just going to take it off with my fingers. Alright, so I got that out as far as it'll go. So we're going to go work on the other one, and then we'll see if once we get the other one out, we can swing it around, and that one will come loose. But I've got it as far out as it'll come before it hits this right over here, so kind of crazy how tight it is. Alright, so next we're going to move over and undo this one. That's what I've done, is just use that part of the pole off of the jack, get some more leverage to break this loose. Alright, so now the nut's starting to spin. That's what you're going to want to do, is you're going to get a 21 on top or use a crescent wrench to go ahead and stop. Nut spinning. Get this bolt out. Alright, so that's the bolt. We'll grab the nut from up in here. Alright, so when I finished taking the old one off, I just left this bolt the way that it came off, like this, and then I'm going to try to slide this new one on there the same way. Like so. And we're going to swing her around. Alright, so in order to get the lower control arm into place on the right side, you have to take off the sway bar linkage here, and then you'll be able to wiggle it into place. Alright, so now we'll wiggle it into place. on there. Alright, so in order to get this back bolt into place, what you'll need to do is use a jack to raise the lower control arm out here at the knuckle up, and then that'll align that bolt so that it can go in. So we're going to go ahead and get that one tightened up, and then once we get that one tightened up, then we're going to work on this one over here. Getting this bolt back in on the left is kind of a challenge. And it's used just a combination of a wrench, and eventually you'll be able to get a socket on there once it's in far enough and it's out of the way of the obstruction. We'll go ahead and torque this one bolt on the left. So since the clearance is so tight, we could not get the torque wrench in here. These are supposed to be torqued to 114 foot-pounds. So once we get about as tight as we can possibly get it, we're going to be right on the money. Go ahead and torque this one here.
This jack is in my way.
I can't move it. And last but not least, we're going to go ahead and tighten this nut up here. So that's it for the control arm. So the last thing we have to do is just get this sway bar linkage connected again. Alright, so after I jacked the other side up, I was able to put this linkage back in place and just go ahead and put the nut on.